All right, part 3, are religions unfair to women? This video, we fitting about to be. This is some next level. Women are going at it. Men are going. I mean, this is honestly one of the more, in my opinion, intense debates. You know, we did Is There Evidence for God video. We did, you know, is the Bible still relevant today? That kind of stuff. But are religions unfair to women seems to me like a no-brainer. No-brainer. So, if you like what we're doing, subscribe. If you haven't heard of us, subscribe. Hit the bell, hit all, like this video. YouTube's watching. Thank you for everybody's recommendations and your comments. They're encouraging. They keep me going. And let's see what happens in the remainder of this video.
The fact is, religion makes its own rules. It's not for secular society to tell me what my faith's rules should be, and it's not for secular society to tell me
secular society says you can't be a bigamist. No.
That's fine. And then, you, of course, and here, you cannot be a bigamist and you cannot have more than one wife. So as a British citizen, the state law will go above Islamic law, and I accept that completely.
She's definitely progressive enough to allow that. Cool. Not most Muslims. I don't know. I mean, maybe there are. Maybe there's a huge split here on what they're willing to do. I don't know.
But the Islamic countries are not accepting that.
That's interpretation, isn't it?
Here, what they have is a wife and 600 mistresses on the side. Don't tell me that.
Okay, everybody, let's speak to Eunice. You're a pretty recent convert, or as Muslims refer to it, a revert, and you have 2.5 years. Why did you choose Islam? Why do you think Islam was the religion for you?
Well, the reason that I chose it was more to do just with the knowledge that I found inside the Quran. It just totally blew my mind. But going back...
I am always, honestly, a bit perplexed, if that's the adjective I could use, for what amazing knowledge that they're finding in the Quran that's like, whoa. But then again, people find it in the Bible that's like, whoa. So maybe it's not to be shocked. It's not like a shocking thing. But I know this Christian lady that's right next to her is clearly not so impressed.
That's what we're talking about. For me, as somebody that was born in Britain, raised, basically allowed to do whatever I wanted. I was brought up as a Christian, used to go to church, to pray every day, loved it. It's quite funny because I found that I had more of a sense of womanhood and sisterhood as a Muslim, and I have like 100 times more female friends as a Muslim than I ever did as a Christian or as just in general British society.
It's a sense of belonging that you found.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just simple situations, meeting up with like 10, 15, 20 sisters and going for a coffee just doesn't happen. I find that the culture that I grew up in Britain, women tend to like compete against each other. And this is quite interesting if we're talking about Islam as well, because
of course, I'm not saying.
If we're talking about Islam, what I love about it, and if we're talking about womanhood and sisterhood...
Is that cultural?
I think certain things are...
Yeah, I'd like to ask any ex-Muslims, are women competitive with each other in the Muslim world? I mean, maybe she feels that way about the particular community she's now wrapped herself in. I don't know. But I know the churches that I was part of as a Christian, the women, you know, there was a bit of sometimes competition, but it was oftentimes because the man was attracted to the other woman and this and that. Maybe when you're covered in trash bags, he's not so attracted to some of the people he can't see. I don't know. Maybe that's the case. I don't know.
Because it can be other countries in the world, Christian countries, where there is a better sense of sisterhood. We're quite atomized in our society.
Totally. You asked me why, what I thought about it. Also, going back to what we were talking about before, what's really interesting about Islam, we're talking about this concept of covering, and or your hijab, which is both for men and for women. What I find really interesting growing up in Britain and British culture is kind of like minimising as much as you can, depending on you as an individual, the kind of aesthetical focus. Taking that out actually brings women together more. Do you know what I mean? So that it's funny because there's a lot, when people think about Islam and they think about women in Islam, going back to what we said before, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his first wife Khadija was a very rich businesswoman. And I think that is really important, because what that is saying to men, which in all cultures and in all faiths, can sometimes actually be intimidated by powerful, rich women. And the fact that he chose to have that as his first wife, and also choosing Bilal.
He chose it to help spread his...
Alison, what are you saying? Well, let's hear from Alison now.
I'm sorry, Khadija, yeah, she was really rich and a rich businesswoman. But part of the marriage was that he could use her money, and she was fine with it. I'm not saying she was against it. He could use her money to spread the word. And also, I'm not saying Islam is all bad.
Choosing Bilal then to recite the prayer call and what that did for slavery? I think you're missing the point. Like,
I've heard that slavery, and I need to study this, Islam was a huge contributor to slavery, so I don't know what she's talking about.
I'm not saying that, like, what you're basically saying is that he almost chose Khadija only because she had, like, you know,
no,
so
but
he could spread
that was part of the reason.
What I'm trying to say that is, in our culture, there can be this kind of like thing where if you're a woman...
It could be part of the reason, yeah. It doesn't have to be the only. She didn't say only, but there definitely was a factor of her having money and power in that sense that he would use to his advantage. It's like Joseph Smith. Did Joseph Smith love his wife? Did he love some of the people he worked with? I'm sure he had good relationships with some of them. And a lot of his motivation was to use them for money, to gain power, to grow his church, to expand his message, all of that. I think Joseph Smith and Muhammad are like perfect examples to kind of look at as one's closer to us, but like as a cult leaders growing the cult, how they are using other people in order to accomplish their goals. Because, you know, people go, is he lying? Does he believe his message or not? And there's a complexity there that you can be lying, still be self-delusional and believe your own message and all of that.
And you're really strong and you've got this major job, maybe you're prime minister, points that we made earlier in the conversation. Certain people, certain men might not like their wife to be in that situation. And what I'm saying about Islam is the fact that he's done that, you know, it does
sends a very powerful message.
to women.
Are you genuinely suggesting, Eunice, that men from Islamic men and men from Islamic countries are more tolerant of women in high-powered jobs? Because I think if you look around the world,
I didn't say
the
that.
difference
What I
between
said
Saudi
is
Arabia
that-
and
what I
Sweden
said is that women-
that the exact
Ooh, it's getting hot in here.
It is 100% true.
Can I object?
Please, everyone. In order to just change gear, we're going to go to the audience. What would you like to say? Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm fine, thank you. I just wanted to say that before you were saying that a man might get intimidated by a powerful woman if that is the position that they're in. Surely that's the man's problem, and he needs to get over that
100%.
intimidation.
And the lady over here, if we can... There it comes, Laura's getting the microphone over. Morning.
I think people find it a lot easier to put the blame on men and say that men use the scripture or use religion to control women, and fail to realise that in a lot of cases women are reluctant to review scripture and review the situation for themselves and bring up the debates that need to be taken up so that people can actually look at what the true religion says and where culture has affected religion in a negative way.
Yeah.
What true religion? I don't know what you talking about.
Very good point. Very quickly, if you could, because I want
a
to
lot of
speak to
comments
Bharti.
from the different faiths. There's a thread and a theme that underlines this, and that when faiths have to be observed through religious institutions by and large, and those are by and large run by men, and with this control and power. I'm coming to a word called patriarchy, which I hear in most of the comments have been said. It's putting the interests of men over the interests of women. And a lot of the things we're talking about, it does affect men, but it also affects women.
We're going to come to that. And the reason we're going to come to it in just a minute, because I want to address the...
In other videos, I wasn't as impressed. But then again, she's bringing some really good points in this one, and I don't know where that's coming from.
The fascinating issue of Hinduism. Bharti, hi. And of course, you had thousands of years ago, not just gods, and God is very much and very often and very frequently portrayed, whether it be in people's minds or whether it be generally as a man. You had goddesses.
Yes.
You have goddesses.
Yes.
Is that because it predates a kind of the nomadic desert, necessarily, arguably, patriarchal society, the patriarchy? Is that because it was a different sort of society in which it flourished, in which it blossomed?
Yeah, well, the Vedic traditions originate in India, and Hinduism in particular sees God as female. So there are traditions which have God as male, and then there are traditions that have God as female. So I've been listening to this Abrahamic debate and wondering, when do the Vedic traditions come in?
Yeah.
Because for us, it's a different perspective. It's not a male God and edicts and the church. It's a female God. And rishis and sages who write in the scriptures. So we are following scriptures which were also written by female. And one of the things
Why is that? It must have grown up in a different type of society from the desert societies that gave rise to the Bible and the Quran.
Yes, it's a Vedic tradition, and it was born within India itself.
The Abrahamic traditions, though, just as a little footnote, I mean, did have goddesses as well before they were.
But we still worship God as female.
Yeah.
And it is a living tradition.
I like that she chimed in, because that Asherah gotta get a call out. Know what I'm saying? That Atherat gotta get a call out. And I think even in the Arabian Peninsula, you had maybe they went by Atherat, Astarte, Atherat, Asherah, and then there is, I can't remember the Arabic particularly, but you know what I'm talking about. There's a female goddess. There's many of them, I'm sure, but like the main head honcho goddess of the Arabian Peninsula.
Currently, one of the things that I would point out is sometimes what happens in faith is different from what happens in culture.
Indeed
so even within Hinduism, we have women who have to fight to become priests. Interestingly, there are more women priests in India and being ordained in India than in Britain, where a lady has been waiting for 2.5 years even to get a hearing to join the Hindu Priests Association.
Yeah.
So I think we need to also put that in context, and it doesn't surprise me at all, the statement the Dalai Lama made, because he is also part of the Vedic traditions, and women are more accepted. Women have that opportunity. I myself work at national and international levels in fields where traditionally perhaps only men would sit. So I sit on the European Council of Religious Leaders.
Seen as more equal, not just seen as a sort of a vessel to have children, as a creature of creation.
As equal.
Or am I winding you up, Sarah?
Just a bit. I think you'll let me speak after this lovely lady.
Yeah. Have you finished?
Well, it's true.
She wants to say something.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Barty.
We're consistently transplanting a lot of secular constructs onto faith. I can just say, from a Jewish point of view, God is neither male nor female. In fact...
Oh my God, Francesca. Punch him in the throat! Come on, you got to give this guy a punch.
The whole debate, is he male or female, is to lower the whole understanding of what God is.
I'm saying about
as a spiritual being.
You said he. Is he male or female?
This is good. Where's it at? Bear with me. Hold up. Where's she at now? God and Anatomy's over here somewhere now. Look, this is hilarious, because I know she writes an entire book about God being a male deity, and the language is clear. This is all a bunch of hogwash.
You have to get beyond.
But in answer to your point, yes, you're absolutely right.
You have to get beyond the language.
But there's a mindset.
You have to get beyond the language. You can't accept the language of the Bible. You can't accept the language of the tradition.
The language as well.
And for those who can't, one feels sorry because they're not opening themselves up to the actual message.
Okay, Cole, sorry. You said Rabbi.
With all the respect I can manage, we are not in a religious debating programme. We're in a programme that's debating about the way we live in this country at the moment and the way we should be. Okay, and an interesting thing, coming up on what we were talking about, Hinduism, one of the really fascinating things that's happening in Britain at the moment, as the institutional influence of Christianity has faded, is that neo-paganism and neo-paganist ideas are informing more and more of the mainstream. And one of the reasons, you go to people and ask, why are you interested in this, on whatever level, they always consistently say, because this is a kind of understanding of spirituality that has a goddess and a male and female spirit, and it deals with God in the way that Hinduism does.
I'm really intrigued for that, and Sarah, I will come to you, but I'm really intrigued because Francesca just said as a footnote when I was speaking to you, Barty, I could hear her behind, I think the camera picked you up, saying, in the Abrahamic tradition, there used to be goddesses, but they've been kind of airbrushed out. We're back to the cut and paste, cut, paste, delete.
I'm glad he came to the expert on the Hebrew Bible.
Has that happened?
Essentially, yes. I mean, the ancient Israelite society from which the biblical traditions of the Old Testament Hebrew Bible, Tanakh, have emerged, and then from, again, which New Testament traditions have emerged, and then some Quran traditions, it was a polytheistic society. So in other words, it wasn't just one God that was worshipped, it was many gods. It just so happens that the God of the Bible who had a consort, the goddess Ashra. We've got inscriptions attesting to this, we've got figurines attesting to this, various neighbouring cultures have similar sorts of texts and traditions about this goddess. She, as monotheism becomes preferable to certain biblical writers over and against polytheism, so she's basically divorced and hidden away.
Yeah, I wish the emphasis on God's body being a male was emphasized here. We're going to end this video here. Ladies and gentlemen, I love Francesca's work. I love learning all of this stuff. I love this debate program. I get irritated. I don't know if you're watching this getting irritated with me by some of the commenters. They are just defending their faith. I get it. But how many BS lies do we have to do to defend our books, our sacred religions? Does this not give like any weight to someone like Richard Dawkins or Christopher Hitchens when like, we don't need them in order to have a good society, to have ethics, to have a good life, all of the things that we see? Where do you see us heading? Where do you see humanity heading in all of this? I mean, the debate's needed, but golly, you went from fundamentalist Christian to like Catholic type Christian to like a recent convert to Islam a few years ago to a Muslim woman who's progressive to Hindu to a rabbi who clearly doesn't want the ugliness of what's going on in his religion to be exposed. An ex-Muslim on the left here who's afraid to show her identity. Francesca is a bold woman expert on the Hebrew Bible. I mean, there's some impressive stuff on this panel. I really enjoyed this. What did you enjoy? Comment down below. Your comments are a free way to help us grow. YouTube sees that comment and says, hey, they're enjoying this stuff. Let's promote it. Let's get more people watching this channel. Let's get more people paying attention. And I hope you will too. So please do so. Like this video. Share it on your social medias. I really hope you've enjoyed this. Give me your recommendations and your favorite part of this episode. Until next time. See you then.